every journal publishes a range of article types. Listed here are some of the article types that are published by the Trends journals. When proposing an article, please tell us what article type you're thinking of. I'm really not very good at reading a mind. And if you're not sure, that's okay. Often people will say, I'm not sure if this should be a science and society or a scientific life. I can have a look and I can discuss that with you. So note that the information required for proposing different article types can differ. As I said, the information I went through earlier was primarily with reviews and opinions in mind. It's very similar to Science and Society and forum articles. Now, in the Trends group, spotlights and book reviews are in response to a recent paper or a book. If you're interested in writing a spotlight, it can be really helpful to supply the paper, just so we don't have to waste time tracking it down. And in both cases, tell us what you think is significant about this publication, be it an article or a book in particular. Why should the readers of my journal be excited and need to know about it? Some Trends journals publish letters. Trends in Ecology and Evolution publishes a lot of letters. Because there are only 700 to 800 words, we tend to ask you to supply the entire letter. Now, after we've assessed the piece, sometimes we all think that a different format might be more appropriate. For example, if we don't feel there's sufficient primary literature on the topic for a review at the present time, we might suggest discussing a forum article with you. We might see that what you really want is to promote some sort of policy alternatives, in which case a Science and Society article might be a more suitable format. And in this case, the editor will discuss this with you. So now I'm going to hand back to Matt.
Thanks. So I'm going to talk a little bit now about the information that you include in a proposal. And I've come up with a scale here about how important these things are, from absolutely critical to maybe interesting to really not that useful at all. So to start with the things that are absolutely critical, I would say anytime the journal asks for something explicitly on its website, that's something that you definitely need to include in your proposal. It might sound obvious. Again, these are things that Andrea just mentioned, but an explanation of what the topic is and why it's timely, your list of recent references, the format, again, please specify which format you're trying to propose an article for, and the list of authors and affiliations so we can assess that expertise. A few things that are possibly informative, but probably not absolutely necessary. Sometimes we'll get a longer outline, including planned figures or section and subsection headings. That's fine. You can choose to include that if you want, but it's probably not critical. And sometimes we'll also get proposals that include a preferred submission date. Again, you're welcome to suggest one, but often the editor will prefer something else. Going back to my example earlier about cutting in line, sometimes we'll get the proposal saying, okay, this is going to be ready in 3 weeks, when really we would honestly prefer it in 3 months. Some things are just not that useful. Sometimes we'll get proposals with really long author biographies. I have published this many papers in this many journals, and here's my H-index, and here's all these prestigious grants that I've gotten. That's great. We're really excited that somebody with that much expertise wants to write for us, but we will also look you up. We're going to go to your institution website and get a feel for what your lab studies. We're going to go to something like Scopus and learn about what papers you published recently. Another thing that's not that useful is the word count, the number of references. Frankly, I don't want you to know the word count at the proposal stage, because that again suggests to me that you've already drafted the manuscript, and that's something that we don't want you to have done. The third thing here, I say this ubiquitous bar chart of number of publications versus time. Everyone knows what this looks like. It's sort of exponentially increasing, and it's meant to illustrate how, 10 years ago, there wasn't that much interest in this topic, and now there's a lot of interest in this topic. I would rather you explain that in words in the proposal and illustrate why this is an important thing for us to consider, rather than just telling me, okay, well, last year there were 80 publications and this year there have been 120. I don't think that's that useful for me to understand the importance of the topic. Finally, flattery. You might think this is a joke. It is not. Occasionally we get these proposals that are like, dear respected editor, we are very excited and humbled to propose this article to your prestigious journal. Again, I like that you think that my journal is prestigious. I appreciate that you think that it's going to be a good opportunity for you, but that's not going to necessarily increase my chances of accepting the proposal. Just be professional, be polite. It doesn't need to be overly formal, and just say, dear Dr. Pavlovich, we'd like to propose this article. Here's why.